The government state pension, as we know it, is the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Yes, you heard me right. There is a likely possibility that when it's your turn to kick back and enjoy retirement, the money in your state pension could be alarmingly low, or worse, completely empty. And to add insult to injury, you're being taxed right now to support someone else's retirement, a privilege that you may not even have for yourself. But wait, there's more. Across the globe, governments are cranking up the retirement age, demanding that you work longer and retire later, shortening your golden years and potentially leaving you with less money to enjoy them. Moreover, the people managing your state pension are gambling with your future, leaning heavy into risky investments, covering their actions in a veil of decreasing transparency, and making pensions appear healthier than they really are, all in a desperate bid to resolve the crisis of an underfunded pension scheme. But let's be real, when a government rolls the dice, it's usually us, we the people, who lose. So in this eye-opening episode, we're going to explore how this all started, how we got into this mess, and predicting what's to come next. Also, stay with me until the end to find out what you need to do next to secure your retirement and ensure that you're not solely dependent on the state for your future. First, we need to look into the origin of state pensions. The concept of state pensions, or a government-run retirement program, dates back to the 19th century, and the first such scheme was introduced in Germany under Chancellor Otto von Bismarck in 1889. The program was designed to provide a source of income for people who were too old to work, and it was funded by contributions from workers, employers, and the state. In the United Kingdom, the idea of a state pension came a bit later. The Old Age Pension Act of 1908 introduced this first state pension, providing a non-contributory amount to those aged 70 and above. It was a means tested program, meaning only those with low incomes were eligible. This early form of pension wasn't tied to contributions during the working life. I suppose a bit like a government welfare or the benefits program that we have today. The state pension underwent significant change, passing the National Insurance Act in 1946, following the recommendations of the Beveridge Report during the World War II. This established a contributory system where the workers, employers, and the state paid into a fund through a person's working life. The amount of pension received was based on the number of years of contributions, and it was available to all, not just the poor. Over the years, state pension schemes have been updated several times to reflect changes in society and the economy. The retirement age has been gradually increased, in line with rising expectancy. Also, additional elements has been added to the system, such as earnings-related supplements and credits for caregivers. In the United States, the Social Security Act was signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1938 as part of the New Deal. This created a social insurance program designed to pay retired workers aged 65 or older a continuing income after retirement. Around the world, many other countries have also established their own versions of a state pension system, with various structures and levels of benefits. However, these programs generally share common goals of providing income security for older citizens. Over time, cracks have started to fall in the state pension system. But stick with me, because we are going to find out when these cracks might turn into massive craters.
Okay, good, okay, fine.
State pensions globally have faced numerous challenges throughout their histories, but many of the most significant issues have become more noticeable in the late 20th and early 21st centuries due to several interconnected factors. Many developed countries are expecting demographic shifts towards an aging population. This is primarily due to increased life expectancy and lower birth rates. As a result, the number of pensioners is rising relative to the number of active workers who contribute to the pension systems through taxes and social security contributions. This imbalance puts considerable strain on pension systems and raises questions about their long-term sustainability. Economic downturns such as the 2008 financial crisis can reduce the investment returns that many pension funds rely on to provide benefits. They also lead to high unemployment, reducing contributions from workers and further restraining the system. State pensions are often subject to political debate and legislative changes, which can lead to uncertainty and instability. Different governments may have varying priorities and policy approaches, making long-term planning difficult. There is growing concern that many people are not saving enough money for their retirement, which puts additional pressure on state pensions. This is particularly challenging in countries where the state pension is designed to supplement, not replace, personal retirement savings. Many pension systems face a significant gap between the funds that they have and the benefits that they are committed to pay in the future. This is often due to a combination of overly optimistic assumptions of the investment returns, demographic changes, and insignificant contributions. All these issues have led to a growing recognition that state pension systems may not be sustainable in their current forms. And no kidding, isn't it obvious already that Ponzi schemes don't last forever? To try and fix the inevitable state pension Ponzi scheme collapse, a range of solutions have been proposed, from increasing the retirement age to changing the way benefits are calculated. But these often involve difficult trade-offs that can be politically controversial. In case you don't know, a Ponzi scheme is a fraudulent investment strategy that pays returns to early investors using the capital injected by later investors, rather than from actual profits. It's unsustainable because it relies on constant influx of new money, and it collapses when there's not enough new participants to pay the earlier ones. To give you a couple of famous examples, the first Ponzi scheme was created back in the 1920s by Charles Ponzi, the one who gave the fraudulent practice its name. He promised investors with a 50% return in 45 days or 100% return in 90 days. However, Charles Ponzi was paying early investors using the investments of later investors. He was eventually caught and his scheme collapsed, costing his investors $20 million, equivalent in purchasing power of about $300 million today. Another example is Bernie Madoff, a respectable figure on Wall Street, ran one of the largest and most infamous Ponzi schemes in history. Madoff's firm offered unusually consistent returns, and he used his reputation and network to attract a great deal of investors. When the scheme was uncovered in 2008, investors lost an estimated $65 billion, and Madoff was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to 150 years in prison. These are just two examples of many Ponzi schemes that have been uncovered over the years, but the crazy thing is, these Ponzi schemes are nowhere near as big as the government state pension Ponzi scheme, as the majority of workers around the globe contribute to the pension fund through taxes and social security contributions, and the money doesn't accumulate in an individual account for each worker. Instead, it's used to pay the pension of the current retirees. The problem arises when the number of retirees grows faster than the number of contributing workers, which is happening now in many countries due to the factors that I spoke about before, making it increasingly difficult for governments to meet their pension obligations, causing doubt over the system's long-term viability. But it leads on to an important, and I suppose selfish part of the discussion. Will there be a state pension when it's my turn to retire? This has been a hot topic for years, and we're here to unpack the rumours and the realities. While there's no definitive answer, there's been speculation about the state pension extension for a little while. In fact, in 2018, the UK's Government Actuaries Department, or GAD, predicted that the state pension fund could exhaust resources by 2033. The reason? Simply put, we're paying out more than we're taking in. Here's how it works. The state pension is primarily funded through national insurance contributions. When GAD issued their report, the ratio was 1,000 contribution workers for every 310 pensioners. By 2036, it's predicted to be that 1,000 workers to 360 pensioners. Given the financial strain that we've witnessed within the last years, it's not hard to imagine that the situation has dramatically worsened around the world. The fragile financial state of 7 US public pension plans could lead to their assets being depleted by 2028, threatening the living standards of many American employees and retirees, as these public pension plans have not fully recovered from the 2007-2008 financial crisis. When the pandemic hit, it caused an even further financial market disruption. The US stock market correction amplified the long-term structural issues across the US public pension system, particularly the weakest funds. Over 320,000 members of the New York Jersey's Teachers and Chicago Municipal Public Pension Plans, the funds of Kentucky Providence, Dallas Police and Fire, Charleston Fire, Chicago Police, and Chicago teachers could all end up with less than 3 years worth of retirement benefits saved as assets. I suppose this is why we've seen the French government's attempts to implement reforms, such as raising retirement age and decreasing benefits, which has faced a serious amount of opposition from trade unions and the public, leading to widespread protests and strikes. You dread to think what would happen when the everyday person realizes that their state pension is part of a Ponzi scheme set up to fail. And I know our generation is stereotyped into being known as snowflakes, but once there are one too many snowflakes on the edge of a mountain, it turns into a devastating avalanche that government politicians around the world will be terrified of being part of. The French pension crisis has highlighted to me the structural issues with the global pension Ponzi scheme and raised questions about its sustainability in the long term. It underscores the need of comprehensive reform that balances the financial stability of the pension system with a social contract to provide adequate retirement benefits for all citizens. In fact, many of us in the UK are already bracing for a future without a state pension. A report by think tank Phoenix Insights suggests that already half of Brits under 30 believe that there won't be a state pension by the time that they retire. What's more, nearly 20% of people aged 50 to 64 share this concern. Even if the state pension survives for another generation longer, it's hardly sufficient. For the 2023 to 24 tax year, the full state pension is a measly £203.85, which is about $250 per week. To put things into perspective, the average total weekly pay in the UK is around £638 or about $800 at this current time. That means the full state pension represents just 32% of the average British worker's weekly earnings. Think about how you would feel if you paid just the right amount of contributions and have the necessary qualifying years to receive the full amount of the state pension but get underpaid upon your retirement. Now, we can't say for sure that the state pension will be abolished, so there's no need to panic. But if the situation deteriorates, as Gab predicted, then governments will likely take action. Yet it might not be the comfortable situation we'd hope for. Given the modest amount offered by the state pension, it's wise to explore other ways to safeguard your retirement. So stay tuned as we delve into the strategies for securing a comfortable retirement with or without the state pension. With the current structure of many state pensions is widely considered unsustainable. Governments worldwide are grappling with the aging population, a shrinking workforce, and pension funds that are vastly underfunded. This demographic and economic time bomb means that the future generations might not have the pension that they expect, or worse, the Ponzi scheme could have already collapsed entirely. Political challenges further complicate the picture. Pension policies are often influenced by short-term political goals, leading to uncertainty and instability. Moreover, economic downturns can erode the value of pensions, and many people aren't saving enough for retirement, placing additional strain on the state pension systems. Given these realities, it's essential to consider alternatives and supplements to government pensions while planning for retirement. Here are a few strategies to think about. 1. Personal savings. Building your personal savings should be a priority. This could be traditional savings accounts as well as investment accounts, which have the potential for higher returns over the long run. Number 2. Roth IRAs or ISAs. These are tax advantageous accounts that can be a powerful tool for building retirement nest egg, whilst having more control of your investments. Number 3. Diversified investments. Consider investing in a mix of assets, including dividend stocks, bonds, cryptos, and real assets like real estate, classic cars, artwork, to spread risk and potentially increase returns. Number 4. For a more hands-off and passive strategy, seek advice from a financial advisor or wealth planner to help map out your retirement strategy, taking into account your individual circumstances, goals, and risk tolerance. Number 5. Employer-sponsored retirement plans. If available, contribute to employer-sponsored retirement plans such as a 401k in the United States or a company pension scheme in the UK. Often employers will match a proportion of your contributions, effectively providing free money. However, in this day and age, you have to do more research and not blindly contribute to your pension because, like the government, the majority of pension funds can't be trusted to manage your money. Check out this video here to find out why your private pension is not safe, because you cannot solely rely on the state or private pensions for your retirement income. If you found this episode enlightening, please give it a like and also subscribe because we've only just scratched the surface of this complex issue.